About a week ago, I returned to the Lands Between in anticipation for the DLC. I ran through the game and beat every single boss, explored every area, every cave, so I figured I'd make a comprehensive re-review of Elden Ring before the DLC drops. Has my opinion changed? Yeah. Has it changed for the better? Kinda. Firstly, let's get this out of the way. The story. In my initial review, I made a point of saying how the story, or rather the game's storytelling, could have been a little bit better. I got a comment or two telling me that I'm playing the wrong kind of game for that thing, which is true, but it would be cool to get a little more context for certain boss fights and story beats. I've gotten even more into the lore of this game since my first review, so it's more disappointing now that they didn't actually put much of the game's story into the actual game itself. I'm not asking for a story-driven Elden Ring, I'm not even asking for lengthy cutscenes or anything like that, but the bulk of this game's story is given through these stiff, automated, mouth-moving, robotic NPCs, and it's uninteresting. Luckily, a game does not need a good story to be a good game. And for what Elden Ring lacks in story, it makes up for in its enormous world and variety of enemies to face. Each area is visually unique and therefore memorable. Some areas can be frustrating to explore due to the funky fall damage and hidden paths that can sometimes be a little out of the way, but it's not too bad. Everything can be naturally discovered given ample time and dedication, but truthfully, I just looked a lot of shit up on Google this time around. I'd already beaten the game several times and I just wanted to see everything the game had to offer for certain. And there's no real way to know you've seen everything because the game won't tell you. I used the website Map Genie for this playthrough and actually paid the premium fee because it's a solid service. Not a sponsored video, obviously. I used it to track my progress with collectibles and bosses and whatnot. Why a game of this magnitude doesn't have a few checklists or actual progress markers is a bit silly. If you want to keep the game entirely mysterious the first time around and then give us checklists in New Game Plus, that would be fine too, but the world and the exploration is great the first 20 hours or so. I got my explorative drive replenished every time I entered a new area, however going through these caves can be a bit of a drag. There's like 4 templates for a cave, copy and pasted to make several dozen. I would just prefer if it was a straightforward underground beeline to the boss arena. Speaking of, just like every Souls game, and as I mentioned in my previous review, the bosses are one of this game's key strengths. In my opinion, this game has the most memorable bosses of any Souls game I've played. That, however, may just be because I've been obsessed with watching videos about Elden Ring for the past few months. The exploration is worth it when you stumble across a new boss. That is, if you find a new boss. I can't find an exact number, but I'm willing to bet over half of the bosses in Elden Ring are reskins or even just plain duplicates of a previous fight. Which is fine to an extent. It's nice to refight a boss that's scaled a little higher, but when it's getting to like the 6th or 7th time you fought Crucible Knight, regardless of the inflated perceived variety here, all the bosses are still fun to fight. But the one true strength of this game, how it outshines and outclasses its predecessors, is you truly can tackle it however you want to. This has been especially highlighted to me as I've been watching a lot of challenge runs. These videos are so interesting because it'll pull some strategy out of his arse when he's down and out, and I'm just like, I don't even know you could do that. Combinations of talismans, status effects, and crystal tears mean you can make your build truly your own. A few of my personal favourite talismans are the Blue Dancer, absolutely overpowered for naked runs. Claw Talisman, buffing jump attacks on strength builds is nuts. Shard of Alexander or the Warrior Jar, Lord of Blood's Exaltation, especially if you're running a bleed build. Of the Crystal Tears, there isn't really a bad one. The best ones are probably ones that buff certain attack types like charge attacks or making your attack more likely to stagger. These are just a handful of examples, but there are loads of these things that don't exactly overhaul your game, but make it different enough each time that the game is infinitely replayable. But that comes with another gripe. Because these bosses are so fun, you sometimes defeat one and then you're like, oh, he was good. I want to fight him again. Well, you better be prepared to play the entire fucking game again. Why couldn't this game have a Sekiro-style reflection of strength equivalent? I presume it's because Sekiro's leveling system is different, so say for example, you beat Margit at level 20 and then you refight him at level 200 on the same new game cycle. How would you expect FromSoft to scale the boss's damage and health? I'm sure it can be done. And even then, they could still just give you the option to customize it anyway. If you've beat the boss as it was originally intended, then why not give us the option to refight it however we see fit? This is a common theme with From Software's games, it seems. They make such an excellent foundation that hooks you. It's so fucking good the first time that you're kind of willing to push through the monotony just to replay these bosses. But in my opinion, we shouldn't have to do that. In fact, the lack of afterthought is everywhere in this game, really. Quite a few areas are a little bit janky, like they feel odd to traverse. There's numerous areas where you need to platform to progress or like risk falling to your death to get to the next part of the area. And it doesn't feel intentional. It feels like when you'd clip out of bounds in COD 4 and run across the rooftops. On one hand, I kind of like it because it instills a sense of adventure and discovery, unlike something akin to Uncharted or Assassin's Creed. In those games, it's obvious where you're meant to go. There's climbing mechanics and waypoints. But in Elden Ring, you're just clumsily climbing up certain structures, and occasionally you'll find an item tucked away in a corner somewhere. So what I mean is, even if you are meant to find some hidden area by platforming, it doesn't feel like you're meant to find it, and that's what I like. But what I don't like is that this game is not a platformer, and it doesn't control like a platformer. I'm always feeling nervous trying to climb up stuff, especially considering how over-enthusiastic the fall damage can be at times. I could go more in depth about the game as a whole, but there's not much to say I haven't already said here or in my last video. Basically, I think I misjudged Elden Ring a little beforehand. I wasn't wrong, but I hadn't quite realised why it was so celebrated. But the thing is, I think most other people also don't realise why this game is a masterpiece. Upon release, Elden Ring went viral unlike any of From Software's previous games, and it was lauded for its scale, its visuals, and to its credit, the many quality of life improvements it made over Dark Souls 3. But I'm willing to bet the majority of the player base have only played the game once, maybe twice, but nobody has experimented with the thousands of wacky builds you can make. I watch all these challenge runs and they always find a way to wriggle out of the most ridiculous handicapped situations because this game has an answer for everything. So I don't do numbered ratings for my review, but if I did, Elden Ring just got bumped up 1 point. So that's the re-review portion over Malenia. She was looming in the distance this entire run. I was absolutely dreading crossing paths with her because until this run, I'd never actually beaten her. Such a finely crafted moveset, such artistry. Erdtree should have been the final boss, but Malenia is the true final boss for this game. I actually live streamed the 72 attempts it took me to beat Malenia. Here are a few highlights. What? I was fucking behind, like, I was curling around her, bro. Bro, this fucking bitch when I've got no stamina. Oh, okay. I was just being a bit silly there. I hate you, you fucking stupid. I'm spamming the fucking touchpad. Oh, I tried. Yeah. I just might as well just fucking say goodnight, bro. I nearly fucking survived that too. The camera was all over the fucking place. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I didn't know which fucking... didn't know which fucking... But I still can't... Still can't fucking get it right. Oh, I don't give a fuck what your name is, man. You can tell me your name when you stop fucking disabling the inputs from my controller, you silly... Hands are sweaty, bro. Okay. I forgot about this fucking move. Bro, fuck! She hasn't done that move in so long, I forgot it even existed. I forgot it even existed. You know the craziest thing? That's been my best attempt so far. fuck out of there. Put it in the history books. Let it be known that SirSwish beat Malenia, goddess of rot, with 4 heals to spare. And it only took me fucking like 2 attempts too, so, you know. I'm glad I did end up replaying the game and doing as much as I could, because it's gotten me even more excited for the DLC. I'll make sure to do a video on that too. But until then, thank you for watching. Stay tuned.